Welcome to the Focolare Word of Life podcast for May 2023. My name is Nick Cianfrani and I'll be your host. The Word of Life is a phrase chosen from Scripture each month and shared around the world and that we're all invited to live. The experiences that we're about to listen to in this episode relate to the Scripture phrase, love one another with mutual affection, outdo one another in showing honor. Taken from Romans chapter 12, verse 10. We live during a time when competition seems to permeate every aspect of our lives. Winning the game, outpricing the competitor, getting a job, and so much more. Competition usually emphasizes defeat of the other. You lose, I win, therefore I'm better than you. This month's Word of Life gives us an opportunity to compete in a way that makes everyone a winner. Let's turn our families into a competition in which, at the end of every day, each member reports the number of ways they loved. You'll see, everyone will be a winner in the way they feel after a day filled with how they have loved their neighbor. In today's episode, Rose Schmitz has a challenging phone call with a customer service representative regarding her lost package, but eventually mutual understanding prevails. Eddie and Anne from Scotland share how their family opened their home to a refugee family from Ukraine. And David Peterson tells how he made an extra effort to love all those he encountered during a family trip. Welcome, Rose. How nice to have you join our podcast today.
Hi, Nick. It's great to be with you again.
Rose, I really like your experience because it highlights the mutuality that the Word of Life speaks of this month. But before you share it, could you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
I live in Texas and I'm a retiree from being a teacher. And now I just live my best life day to day trying to love my neighbors.
Thanks for that, Rose. And now we're ready to listen to your wonderful experience.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to share this experience. So my experience really has to do with an order that I had put in for some merchandise. And so I made a call to the business and I was inquiring about an order I had placed 9 months earlier that had never been delivered. When the representative heard my question, she was immediately on the defensive, telling me she couldn't be responsible for things that were ordered so long ago. My old self reacted, though, to her defensive tone, and I wanted to respond with a similar defensiveness and comment on their need for better customer service. But before I spoke, a thought entered in my mind: love her. So I tried to relieve her anxiety about me being hostile and admitted that I should have followed up earlier. As the conversation continued, her tone changed from being defensive to one of helpfulness. As I thanked her for her efforts and was about to hang up, she stopped me and asked me to wait, that she might be able to look in a few more places. In fact, she then was able to locate the exact address where the merchandise had been shipped. We even exchanged warm regards at the end. I was happy that my effort to love had transformed what could have been a heated exchange into a warm and helpful conversation.
Isn't that often the case when, the other person hears our maybe more loving tone? It just has an effect. It's like the other person melts. Is, oh, but why am I mad? Why am I, and it's so beautiful to see how that just transformed that whole situation.
Thank you, Nick, for giving me the opportunity to share that with everyone, because I'm hoping it will help others whenever they're in a similar situation, because they do come up.
So thank you, Rose. It was a pleasure having you.
Thanks for this podcast too, because I listen to it all the time and get many, many motivations. Thanks, Nick.
Hello, Eddie. Hi, Anne. Thanks for joining me today. How are you both doing?
We're doing good.
Hi, Nick. It's great to be with you. We're doing very well, thanks.
I know you have a wonderful experience to share with us all, but before you do, could you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Yep, so I'm Anne. I am from Scotland. I'm a paediatric physiotherapist, and I'm married to Eddie. We've been married for 26 years, and we have 3 children, 17, a son of 17, a daughter of 20, and a daughter of 22.
And I work nearby where we live in the University of Stirling as a health researcher.
Thank you both for that lovely introduction. And the mic is yours now to share your experience with us.
Okay, so I don't think anybody could fail to be shocked by the images of the war that broke out in Ukraine. And we shared in this despair and hopelessness about our brothers and sisters and the suffering that they were going through in Ukraine. We really felt their pain and we wanted to help. So we were in the fortunate position of having 2 spare bedrooms because 2 of our children had gone off to university. So we had a chat as a family and decided we could try to offer some help to a family from Ukraine. We contacted one of the matching sites, and from there a family asked if we could help bring them to Scotland. So that was last year on the 11th of April. And we helped them to fill in their visa forms and ultimately arranged for them to come to Scotland. During that time, as we waited for them to arrive, it was about a month, and we were in touch with them many times every day on WhatsApp, just trying to get to know them. They didn't have any English, so it was a bit of a challenge, but we used Google Translate and really just tried to reassure them that they would be very welcome in our home. We asked our children if they thought that we were mad, and our 16-year-old son at that time said that we would be mad if we didn't do this, and really that this was what living the gospel meant. So on the 17th of May last year, we collected this family from the airport and brought them home. It was a real leap of faith for us because we knew that in taking on this commitment, we couldn't then let that family down, because they had come from a really traumatised situation and it would add to their trauma if things didn't go well. Regardless of how it was going to go, we committed to 6 months of sharing our house. As a family amongst ourselves, before they arrived, we agreed to try and live unity, to try and be the first to love. Our Ukrainian guests were a father and mother and a 4-year-old girl. For us, it was a real gift to be able to actually put the gospel into practice every day. We shared our goods, our home, our time and our energy. And oh my goodness, what a lot we got in return for taking on this commitment.
How wonderful, Anne. It's admirable to see your concrete love and how you helped this family out, taking them in with you. Eddie, how was it for you?
So I'm sure you can imagine that there were loads of experiences that we've shared with our Ukrainian family at that time. Sometimes we looked at each other and said, how on earth did this happen? How did we find ourselves in this situation? Even though we chose it, it seemed an amazing thing to have lived as a family. But we were surprised at how easy it was to integrate together, despite our cultural differences. And we had really strong experiences of how love has become reciprocal. So for example, one weekend, we'd been away for a few days. And when we returned, we discovered that they had spent hours weeding our vegetable patch, which had become overgrown because we hadn't managed to get to it. They really must have taken 6 hours of their weekend cleaning it up for us. It never looked so good. On another occasion, we were coming home late again, having been away, and they'd spent the whole weekend tidying the house and making it beautiful, preparing a traditional Ukrainian meal, so that when we came home late at night, there was something there for us to eat. So their love for us was really, really tangible. Another weekend, we had a family over. At the beginning, our Ukrainian family were a little bit timid and said maybe they wouldn't eat with us. But then they decided to join us for lunch. It was a really beautiful occasion, 12 of us sitting at the table. And after it, we all decided to go to the park together. And they were playing with the children. And when they came back, we shared some pizza together. It was a really joy-filled occasion. And although we never spoke about anything in any sense religious, we really felt the presence of Jesus in our midst.
Eddie, it's wonderful to see how you all grew closer to each other. And how long did the Ukrainian family stay with you?
After 7 months with us, they felt secure enough to look for an apartment. It was very difficult to find a property, and we came up against racism and mistrust. Eventually, we put a post up on Facebook, and after 6 weeks, someone contacted us to say they were handing in their notice on their apartment, and they would ask their landlord to consider our family. The landlord was hesitant. After a week, we wrote to him and told him some of our experiences of sharing our home. Immediately, he replied that they could have the apartment and that he would reduce their rent. Our deep relationship continues. Despite them having moved out, they shared Christmas with us and toasted us, their Scottish family. They still come for dinner every week and are in touch most days.
Thank you, Anne and Eddie, for being such a witness of love and for sharing your lovely experience with us. It's an inspiration for all.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
Welcome, David, and thank you for joining our podcast today. It's a great joy having you with us.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate being here.
Yes, it's good having you. And David, I've known you for many years, and I have to say that your experiences on living the gospel, I've always appreciated them because they are profound and tangible, like you can relate to them. So before you share your current experience, could you tell our listeners just a little bit about yourself?
Sure, Nick. Thank you. I've had a lot of experiences and various professional experiences in my life. And for example, I started out as a teacher. I worked as a speech pathologist at a VA hospital as a career. I was then started teaching again in the Catholic school and teaching mathematics, and then served as school principal for a few years. And now I'm retired, and retired doesn't mean I'm not working. I still have a career, and that's to bring love to one another.
How true that is, David. It doesn't matter if we're retired or not. We always need to love others. So go ahead and share your experience with us now.
Well, like you said, Nick, I wanted to share experience. Simple experiences convey the best. And this is something that happened. Recently, we went on a trip to northern Arkansas. The purpose was to visit my sister and brother-in-law. He has terminal cancer, so we wanted to visit while he was still feeling well. This would be a vacation, though, with a different purpose because we didn't go to sightsee. We went instead to give love to all those we encountered on the trip. Now, this kind of love reflects the word of life for this month. Love one another with mutual affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. So for some people we encountered on our trip, our love was expressed through a smile or a friendly greeting. But for others with more time, we're able to have some good sharing. For example, we made friends with the motel desk clerk, had many conversations. Later, we had beautiful conversation with a couple manning the Catholic gift shop at the church. And each morning, we visited with fellow tourists in the motel breakfast area. Now, our visit with my sister and brother-in-law was wonderful. We loved them by learning about their family activities. Soon, our conversation ventured into topics of religion, politics, life, and death, all discussed in unity. One day, we went on a train tour to experience unity with them. And the fruit of this love is that we actually did do some sightseeing. It was great. So when we got back to Texas, we realized that we achieved our goal of loving everyone we met with the affection this month's Word of Life speaks of. Although we were very tired, we were filled with joy.
Wonderful, David. Oh, extraordinary. These are the kind of experiences that I think I can relate to personally. And so I thank you for that. Thank you for joining our podcast. It has been a real joy being together again with you.
It was truly my pleasure, Nick. Thank you.
So thank you for joining us today. I hope you have been inspired by the wonderful stories shared. I look forward to being with you again next month. To listen to a reflection and a commentary on the Word of Life, just go to the previous episodes of this podcast. I invite you to join me each month for new episodes. You can also read additional experiences in the Living City magazine. Please consider making a donation to Focolare Media so that we can continue producing inspiring podcasts. Visit give.focolare.us. That's give.focolare.us, and look for the Focolare Media tab. Thank you in advance for your support. Bye for now, and God bless.
The Word of Life is translated into approximately 90 different languages and dialects, reaching millions worldwide through print, radio, TV, and other media. There are special versions for children and teens as well, which you can find at livingcitymagazine.com. This podcast has been brought to you by Focolare Media.